Okay, welcome back. This is David Blaine, and you're listening to All Things Money. Before the break, we were getting a little bit into the Health Care Act that was just passed. It's actually called the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, otherwise known as Health Care Reform. And I always laugh at the names that they come up with these bills. Apparently around Washington, it's quite a science for people that their job is to come up with a name for these bills. But we're just going to highlight some of the provisions and mostly focus on how it affects you as an investor and you and your personal financial planning. So first of all, one of the major provisions is the individual mandate. Individuals who don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid must have health insurance either through their employer or purchase on their own, or they will face some fines. Individuals, the government will provide some tax credits and vouchers to people that cannot afford to purchase the health care themselves. This individual mandate is currently being challenged. Some people feel that it's unconstitutional, requiring people to get health insurance. The analogies to auto insurance and homeowners insurance simply do not hold water, because you don't have to drive a car and you don't have to own a home, where every person would have to have health insurance. And so when you're looking at your planning, if you don't have an employer that's going to be mandated to provide coverage, which, by the way, actually the business portion is not necessarily a mandate, that the employers will be required to provide coverage for employees. If they don't, they will be fined or taxed, whatever they want to call it. It's the same thing, a fine or a tax. And the fee will be computed based on some sort of formula that they come up with on how to impose this on employers. Most of these provisions are going to apply to employers that employ over 50 people. For small businesses that employ 25 employees or less, they're going to give some tax credits to help offset the cost of providing coverage. And in fact, employers with fewer than 10 employees will probably be able to get the full credit. Now let's talk a little bit about how this reform is going to be paid for. So what has to be paid for? Well, people that don't make a lot of money, the government is going to subsidize the care. That's essentially where the spending in this bill comes from, is for people. They're going to provide money to people to purchase their health care if they can't afford to. So where is this going to come from? One of the main areas is that Obama will boost the Medicare tax by 0.9 percentage points for singles making over $200,000 a year, or joint filers making over $250,000 per year. Additionally, there will be a 2.9% tax on these same people on all interest, dividends, annuities, all the other types of investment incomes. It will apply to capital gains as well. And so this is a massive new tax. Traditionally, Medicare had been known what it was called as a payroll tax, that it was based on the payroll earnings of an individual. Well, with these new taxes coming in, it's just a regular tax anymore. And what's very interesting about this is, of course, it's always a politically popular thing to make the rich pay for it. But if we look at the 1.2 million taxpayers who make more than $624,000 a year will pay nearly 86% of this tax once it's fully effective in the year 2013. And you may be saying, oh, well, that's fine, they can afford it. Well, if you look at what happened in California recently, and so much of California's revenue was dependent on so few people, that when the economy started turning down and people just got tired of it, in California's case, they just moved out of the state. And it has thrown California into a terrible problem. And so it may sound like a great idea, just tax the rich people. But when you're relying on about 1 million people to pay the entire tax of this health care bill, don't expect those people to sit there and take it for long. They're going to figure out a way to either get around it legally, they're going to move someplace else, and things like that. But just we can look at places like California where it just simply does not work over the long period of time. It's very politically expedient, and people think it's a great idea to tax the rich to pay for it, but it just does not work. That's what happened with Social Security and Medicare. That's the problems that we're having currently. A couple other things when you're looking at investing. This new healthcare plan imposes some taxes on healthcare companies. Starting in 2010, drug makers are going to pay about $2.3 billion. Manufacturers of medical devices will be paying between $2 and $3 billion. Insurance companies will be starting to pay increased fees. And so when you're looking at some of these sectors, the drug company, medical devices, medical insurers, there are going to be some massive new fees. On the other side, companies that aren't in the healthcare industry, there have been some massive announcements of write-downs. Some of the things in the bill changes the way corporations account for their retiree health costs, and they're going to have to pick up some more costs in the future. And so according to the accounting rules that are out there currently, that are enforced by the SEC, these companies are required in the quarter in which this becomes known to take a charge against earnings. And in AT&T's case, it was over $1 billion. John Deere was going to record a $150 million charge, Boeing $150 million, Caterpillar $100 million, Prudential $100 million. And so these companies are already starting to reflect the cost of these healthcare reforms on their books, and it's going to take a hit to earnings. So we're about to take another break, and when we come back, we'll answer some of our viewers' email. For All Things Money, this is David Blaine.